All right, for this project, I sourced a couple things from the Dollar Tree. Most of my supplies, actually mostly all my supplies are from Dollar Tree. Now, I found these little decorative pieces that were kind of left over from Valentine's Day, but you can also find like square, essentially decor. If you want to use that, just make sure it has kind of like this deep inset on the opposite side. So I'm going to be using the Rust-Oleum Milk Paint finish in the color Eclipse. So it's essentially like a black color, and I have a paintbrush. So let's get started with painting. So I'm just taking a paintbrush and we are going to go over all of this. This may take a couple of coats, but yes, I'm painting over the sparkles as well. Just making sure I've pushed all of that paint around. All right, so we're going to keep going. And not only will I be painting these two decor pieces, I'm going to be painting all of my wood dowels. So all of these will get painted. So once that's all done and we're ready to move on, we'll move to that step. So we will be back. So now that these pieces have been painted, and they're dry, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step. So this step is going to require a glue gun. So we're going to start by flipping this guy over, and we are going to add our hot glue to the bottom and to one side, and we are going to put it into the corner. Just make sure that that kind of holds. So we're going to do this in all four corners. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. Do a little dot on the bottom and then on the sides, just to make sure it stays secure. Now that we have, successfully attached, we are going to be adding this to the top by adding glue to these two. And I know it's going to be touching base on this side, so I'm adding hot glue to one side. So once that kind of sets, we're going to flip it over and do the other side. Now, what's different on this part is I'm actually going to place the glue on the side of the frame. All right, so now that these are both dry, we have this kind of structure happening. What we're going to be doing is we are going to be taking our smaller pieces and we're going to be creating an X shape. And the X's are going to start and finish kind of next to the main pillars. And essentially, I'm going to kind of be figuring out where it needs to be placed. And then I'm going to come in with my hot glue gun and kind of put a little piece of glue, a little bit of glue to hold it in place. And then we're going to be moving on to the next piece. All right, so now that that has all been glued, we are going to move on to our next step. All right, so now we are going to move on to our toppling tower pieces. I have about 15 here. So what we're going to do first is we are going to glue these together. You'll also notice I have a wood bead as well. We are going to be including this in this whole piece, but we're going to get to that in a minute. So let's first start by hot gluing these all together so that they're like one piece, and then we're going to move on to our next step, which will be painting. So we're creating that one piece. I say like make sure that you're kind of pushing the blocks together as you're gluing them and keeping them on the level surface just to make sure that they stay as level as possible. All right, so now that we have allowed these to set and they're one piece each, we are going to be painting it the same color as we did the other pieces. So we're gonna do it exactly the same. Now I was having a thought when I was painting the other part, and I feel like some may bring this up in the comments. If you wanna spray paint it, like go for it. I was trying to work with what I had for this project. Now, while I do have white paint in my stock, I really like the idea of this being black. But like I said, if you wanna go out and buy like either chalk spray paint or just spray paint, you could definitely do that with this project. But I think doing it this way kind of gives you the ability to do it year round, because spray paint, it can be If you live in a place where it snows or it gets really cold or really, really hot, you may have some issues with the spray paint sticking and like drying the way that it's supposed to. So yeah, we're just gonna paint all of these, both sides. These are gonna be completely covered in paint. So we will be back. All right, so now that these are both dry, what we're gonna be doing is we are going to hot glue this part. And I also painted the wood bead that I had from earlier. I painted it the same color. And essentially what we're gonna do is we are going to glue it on the top here. We're gonna put that on the center. All right, so we're gonna let this dry here for a moment. And that's where this comes into place. So you may be like, what are you doing with measuring spoons? So we're actually only gonna be using the loop for this part. So we just need this piece. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint it, but also first we are going to clip this end as well. So we're gonna clip off this piece and we're gonna paint it, and it's essentially going to attach in the hole of the bead here. All right, so now that this is all glued and dried and my little ring is glued and dried, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of hot glue and I'm gonna put it in the hole, and we're gonna push that through, kind of clean up some of the extra hot glue that came in. And a little bit of the paint lifted, so I'm gonna go back in now that it's attached and I'm gonna add a little bit more. All right, for this last step, now that we've attached the tumbling tower pieces with my ring from my measuring spoons, and we have this nice black color, I actually wanna give this a little bit of an aged look. So I'm gonna be taking a couple brushes with honeycomb folk art acrylic paint. I'm gonna start with a smaller brush, but I wanna do a dry brush technique. So I don't want there to be too much paint on the brush. I want there to just be enough. So I can go over the edges. And I always say like less is more. So like if you decide you wanna build off of it, you can. Here's the finished product of my chic distressed farmhouse lantern. I really love how it came together. I think it works perfectly in my kitchen. I hope you feel inspired to try this project. Thank you so much for watching Home Talk, and I will see you in the next one.